Hi, Gordon Heritage here, and in this presentation I'm going to show you how to remove and clean the battery seal of the CTX 3030. Now, it's really important to keep this seal really clean if you intend to go wading into water. You know, if the battery unit goes below the water and the seal isn't absolutely perfect, then water will get in and could damage your battery. The first thing to do is remove the battery. And then remove the headphone module if it's already fitted. As you can see, there's loads and loads of grit that actually gets into all the little nooks and crannies of the back of the CTX 3030. Now this can happen just out in the field with rain and all the mud that's about, but once you actually get into water, then you get this fine grit will get into everything. So it's really important to keep this well maintained. Okay, now the first thing to do is to get the seal out of the recess here in the battery compartment. Now the best way I've found to do this is with the top of a pen. This particular one is a well-known pen with 3 letters, but there are other pens and other pieces of plastic. The main thing is don't use something metal. Don't put a knife in it, because then chances are you'll damage the actual seal. Take your cap from your pen and push it into the actual groove, and if you press it along, it will actually loop so that you can get hold of the seal. Dip it into water, clean off any grit, and then we'll put it to one side for drying. Now, before we start cleaning anything, the main thing is to keep the water out of the actual 8-pin socket. Now, on the back of the module, you will find there's a little plug tucked away in here. I'll remove this and place it into the socket, actually screw it in there, and that will then keep water out of that pin. Now, even if water does get into that, as long as it's not salt water, it won't do much damage, but you must make sure that you completely dry it out before you actually refit the module. Now, the best way of actually cleaning out the groove after the seal's been removed is with a toothbrush. And all you do is simply, with water, you don't need any detergent or anything, just with water, get water into the little groove. So you literally just keep going around, and what you're trying to do is disturb any grit that's there, and then by adding more water on the toothbrush, you're literally washing it out. Okay, and keep doing it until you're absolutely happy that all the grit's coming out. Now, as you can see, there is water that has actually got in all around the contacts and things. This doesn't really matter. You're using fresh water. It's not going to cause much problem. Let's take a little bit of paper toweling. Just get the excess out, and then we're going to put it to one side and let it dry. So I've let the detector dry out for a couple of hours. It's completely dry now. It's a matter of fitting the seal. And now I've read on the internet people advising users to actually use silicone grease to improve the seal. Now, I'm sure this will improve the seal, but again, talk to Minelab service. They're worried that little bits of grit will stick to the actual silicone, and that could cause problems further down the road. On a personal level, I've tried it, and what I found is that when I go to clean it after it's been greased up, it just makes the whole process of cleaning the seal a lot more gunkier. So I personally don't use it. And as long as you keep the seal clean before you go into the water, then it's best, you know, just to do it more regularly and not bother with silicone grease. Okay, so to fit it, very, very simple. Obviously there's a straight edge and there's a curved edge. So you make sure the straight edge is at the top, and you just literally lay it into the groove, and it usually will just sit in there. And then if you've got fingernails, just poke it in with your fingernails, and then, you know, if it needs a little bit more sort of easing down to the bottom of the groove, then take your pen lid and just run it round and actually poke it there. Now, what really pushes it home is the battery. So when you off the battery up to the groove and just press it in, and that's now pressing that sill right home to where it belongs. I then fit it and then take off the battery and just check to make sure that it is sitting in all the groove, which it is perfectly. Now another little tip that I've got for you is when I've been wading in the water, occasionally while I'm swinging the detector and I'm wearing something like a dry suit, I sometimes catch the clips, and I have had the clips actually get hooked by something and release. Now that has the potential of destroying your battery, especially if you're wading up to your chest in water and that happens. So I've got a little tip which has been posted on Minelab owners before, and that is to use one of these elastic bands, these wristbands. You get them for events. It doesn't have to be one of these, but I'll show you the idea. Now what I do is I put it over the battery. This is before I go wading, okay, so that it actually contacts the front of the clip. So now, with that in place, if I hook that clip, it will not release, okay? So that they're going to cost you pennies to put on there, but that has the potential of saving your battery if you do hook something. I mean, when we're wading, sometimes we're wading around trees and all sorts of things. All sorts of things are hooking around this. So this has the potential of saving your battery.